emergency. So I'm gonna be doing this live. I'm sorry, I was planning on adding some images to help you see better, but I think this is way too important for us to ignore. Syrian regime have been exposed. Let's call for what it is. The videos were released right now. Basically, you're seeing it surfacing in the internet of Syrian forces executing a Druze doctor in the hospital in Suwayda. One of the reasons that the Druze chose to expose that video, I will share it right now as we talk about it, but it's very important that we bring this to the attention of the world, and that's why I was trying to edit you a video, but I couldn't because my laptop, just like I said, crashed. But I feel it's too important to ignore it. We need the help of the world to help share this out for the things that are happening right now in Syria. In that video, you can see ISIS soldiers, Al-Qaeda soldiers, government soldiers. Basically, they're all the same, wearing the same uniform, only different patches. It's the Syrian government uniform. One will have a patch of ISIS, one will have a patch of Al-Qaeda, but that just shows without any doubt left that the Syrian regime is ISIS, is Al-Qaeda. Their soldiers are freely walking with these patches. I was an officer in the army, and I know what it is when a soldier will choose to wear the uniform of an enemy country or a terrorist organization. This is unheard of. He will go to jail and he will be stopped immediately. But over there, they boast, that's literally, they have patches everywhere showing their affiliation with these terrorist organizations. And in that video, you see them actually being led inside the hospital by someone that seems to be, and that's what I got from some of the sources in Syria, as the Secret Service of Syria, the Shabak, the FBI of Syria. He's going, I think his hand is wounded. He's going with like a black jacket, and he's kind of showing them how to enter, where to enter. And then they go and they round up all the doctors on the floor. If you don't remember, I just had a live a few days ago with one of the doctors from Suwayda, an amazing lady by the name of Lujane, which shared that story of how one of her friends got executed in the hospital, and now we're seeing actually the image of that. So if you want to hear the full story, you can go and check the last two lives that I've done. One of them was with her, and you can hear that. But we see them rounding them up, and then they grab one of the guys, which apparently is one of the medical staff there, and they start taking him to the front, apparently to execute him. And he starts fighting with the guys, a very brave young man, and he chooses to try to fight with one of these jihadists. He takes him down. It looks like he knew some kind of martial arts also, but it didn't help him a lot because there were just too many terrorists there, and they managed to release, and then they shoot him a bullet in the head and in the chest. Two guys, one shoot him with a machine gun, the other one with a pistol. Later on, we've seen images of what happened in that hospital. There was a complete onslaught in that hospital. Hundreds of people died, including medical staff, including pregnant mothers. As they were delivering the baby, they came and they got shot, and the baby got shot. So there's a terrible massacre. That video, I wouldn't even dare sharing it with you. It's one of the most horrific videos that I've seen, honestly, and I've seen a lot of horrific videos. So viewer discretion is highly advised if you go and watch that video. But there's so many videos surfacing from El Suwayda, from the massacre. Thank you so much, Shauna. I'm doing this on my phone, by the way, for those of you who just joined now. My laptop crashed, so I will do my best to read the comments, but I won't be as good because I'm doing this on my phone. So the hospital was completely overrun. The government soldiers came and slaughtered. All right, I'm back here. Sorry guys, my internet crashed. So, am I still on? Can someone leave a comment here and just, tell me if I'm still... Perfect. Thank you, Elsa. So, as I was talking, the Syrian army have sieged on the hospital. They came with their jihadists, with the ISIS, with their government soldier. Basically, they're all the same. They just wear different patches of different terrorist group that they're organized under, but they're all under the government. So the government of Syria is undoubtedly ISIS. Let's expose them for once and for all and stop listening. Now, in this video, I'm going to tell you why do I think that your leaders are hiding that from you, and why is mainstream media complicit with it, which basically by now we all know that you can't trust mainstream media. But why is your leaders in the West are trying to cover that from you? There's several reasons for that, and we'll try to shed light on everything that is happening in Syria so you can better understand the situation. For those of you who joined right now, I'm just telling again, I was trying to do a video on my laptop, but my laptop basically broke down, but this is too important to ignore. So we saw the images, the horrific images of the doctors in Syria in a hospital in Suwayda being rounded up on the floor, and then one of them is being dragged to be executed, and then he tries to fight, and then they shoot him. Two guys, one with a pistol, one with a weapon, with a gun, one in the bullet in the head and the chest. He dies down, and they drag him, and there's, very gory video. You see blood all over, and the staff, is shocked. One of the doctors that apparently was there was the girl that we had in our live video a few days ago, Dr. Lujain, which shared that story with us, by the way, and now we're seeing the images. And we'll also share in this video, why did the Druze choose to release this video right now? There's a very important reason why did it happen now that they chose to release the video. Another important aspect is what is happening in the internal conflict that the Druze are happening, and also a crazy story that I got to hear from some of the fighters that went to reclaim and take back the hospital that was captured by the government and ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Let's just call the Syrian regime for what it is right now, the ISIS. Yeah, that's what they are. ISIS took over that country and is being run by an ISIS terrorist called Jolani. Let's not try to hide it. Now, your leaders are covering for him, undoubtedly, trying to make you think that, when I say Europe, I'm talking about Western leaders. We're seeing that from America all the way to Europe, trying to tell you that Jolani is moderate and that Syria right now is a good country and we can lift off the sanctions that were placed there before because Assad was evil, and now they actually have a chance to save that country. That is a lie. Western media, you can't trust them. It's all known now. They've been bought. Nothing that they say right now, I would never trust them again until I see, any reason otherwise. But a good example, why can't you trust Western media, is look what happened in Gaza. How many times did Western media tell you that Israel is executing doctors, attacking hospitals? And I don't know when Israel is not, literally trying to go and rescue the hostages that are being held in the hospital. And they took all their source of information from Hamas and they just didn't even fact check, just put it all out there. But when we actually have videos of a government of Syria with ISIS and Al-Qaeda going and executing doctors, then Western media is silent. So do you need more proof to show you that Western media is not on your side? They're not mainstream media. They're not coming to tell you what is happening. But why are your leaders hiding that from you? And there's a very good reason. Reason number one is Arab money. And it used to be Shia buying the way kind of to cover for Syria, and now is Sunnah. And when I say Sunnah, we're seeing Saudi Arabia, we're seeing Turkey, we're seeing other countries that are Sunnah, Qatar and etc., that are trying to basically, well, Qatar is not necessarily Sunnah, but are trying to basically come and hush the world from exposing the Syrian regime for the ethnic cleansing that they're doing on Christians, on Alawites, on Yazidis, on Druze, on many, many other minorities, trying to do on the Kurds. And why is that? You see, in Islam, the worst thing that can happen is that they lose land, because Islam is a very colonizing, expanding religion that is trying to conquer the world. This is practical, basic Quran. They want to convert all the world to Islam. They believe that Islam is the final, the final religion. Muhammad is the seal of the Prophet, and everybody should go under Sharia law. And they divide the world to two: house of war, house of Islam, Dar al-Harb, Dar al-Islam. Dar al-Harb is a house of war, meaning every place that is not under Sharia law, and you need to conquer it. Once it's conquered and Sharia is established, it's called house of Islam. The worst thing that can happen is that they will give it away. That's why Saudi Arabia was all the time against Palestine, because Palestine is Muslim Brotherhood, sponsored by Iran and etc. But when Donald Trump came and said, I'm going to go and buy Gaza, then suddenly they became so pro-Palestine against Israel, because for a long time, the Muslim world has been fooling the West and learning to say the things that the West like to hear, meanwhile, keep expanding their agenda, which is world domination kind of, and taking. And in this case, the Sunnah doesn't want to lose Syria to the Shia. So Jawlani is their Sunnah boy. Qatar is trying to buy him. Turkey is trying to buy him. Saudi Arabia is trying to buy him. Everybody's trying to control him because he is basically keeping that Sunnah land and they don't want to give it to anyone. Meanwhile, he is a terrorist and he's full on engaged in ethnic cleansing everyone in Syria that is not Muslim, first of all, and even Muslims, if they're Shia or if they're not as extreme as, you know, the radical Sunnah that is there, the Salafi Sunnah, they try to exterminate them. So America and Europe basically started buying this picture from the Sunnah world, telling them keep Israel out of the way. All they do is they cause problems. Trust us when we tell you we got this under control. And it's very interesting how they managed to sell it to the West. To America, it's quite easy. $100 billion and a private jet to Donald Trump, and suddenly they listen to Saudi Arabia about everything happening in the Middle East, stopped listening to Israel. Very sad reality. Try to prove me otherwise. To Europe, they made an even more sinister plan. They told them, listen, Syria is under control now. Trust us. We're going to make sure Jawlani's our boy. He got a jacket. He shaves his beard. He's a good guy now. He want to make Syria a good country. Israel is the enemy. They're trying to, you know, stir things up and destroy things there. The Druze are the bad guys. They're terrorists. They're trying to destroy as well. They work for the Jews, the Christians as well, the Yazidis. All these minorities are being exterminated there. The Alawites. They're the bad guys. The Sunnah and Jawlani are good guys. And why is Europe buying that? Because Europe is looking for an excuse to get rid of all these, you know, radical Muslim Syrian migrants that came and flood their country and that are just killing their children, raping their daughters, you know, driving cars into Christmas markets and etc. Let's be honest, all of these terrorist attacks were done by Muslims, not by Christians, not by Jews, not by Yazidis, not by Druze. All were done by Muslims. I'm not saying all Muslims are terrorists, but we definitely know that all terrorists are Muslims. Kind of hard to argue with that. So Europe, hoping to see Syria as a stable country, will give them an excuse to start sending these, you know, migrants back to Syria. However, they're doing it wrong. It's amazing how often Europe just gets the ball handed to them. Just do the right thing and they manage to mess it up because political correctness. Right now, as we're speaking, I met with a bunch of Germans that told me that their friend, a Yazidi girl in the city that I'm living in, is about to be deported to Syria because Syria is under peace right now. Jawlani is a good guy. So who are we going to send back there? The Yazidis. A Yazidi girl. Can you understand how crazy the German government and in general Europe have become? Instead of sending the Muslim Shiites or Sunnis that are just walking here in the streets with signs of saying, you know, we support Khomeini or we support al-Shara. There's literally Syrians in Syria walking with scissors saying they're going to go and kill the Druze in Germany, holding a picture of an ISIS terrorist, boasting in the streets alongside with the pro-Palestinians. These are the guys you want to send away. I can tell you a very easy way. The people you don't want to send away from Europe are actually the minorities. That's the Druze, that's the Yazidis, that's the Christians, that's the Kurds, that's the free people of Iran that came here. You know, these people, you don't want to send them away. They're actually assimilating your culture very well. They respect your culture. They work. They pay taxes. They don't try to convert you. And if you send them, they will be killed. The ones you should send away is all the ones that are actually supporting the government of Syria, because it's a terrorist government, undoubtedly. And I think that video completely exposed that. Yeah, the Yazidi girl, I just imagine, you know, they want to send her back. And that's not the only case. They want to send back Druze people. They want to send back a lot of the wrong people while keeping the wrong people in their country. So that's quite insane. So Europe have a motive to believe that Syria have become good, and they're willing to turn a blind eye to an ethnical cleansing that is happening, a real genocide. America is kind of waking up right now, I'm hoping, but they were fooled by their partners, by by the Arab money, basically, to stop listening to Israel and start listening to the Arab world when they tell them how they want the Middle East to look like. And let me give you a hint, they want the Middle East to be Muslim. They don't want anyone non-Muslim to be in it, and they want the world to be Muslim, so it's just a trick, and you gotta stop falling for that. Let's go back to the hospital. So, undoubtedly seeing images of Syrian soldiers with patches of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, proudly wearing them, going around with tanks into a hospital with one of their secret service, one of the government officials. Why would if they're not trying to ethnically cleanse the Druze, and if they're not sending their soldiers, then why do you have your soldiers there? You have your tanks there. You even have your own FBI there, walking around and showing them where the hospital. They round the doctors. They start killing, and they start butchering and killing everyone in that hospital. The Druze hear about that, and I've heard that today from several Druze fighters. They actually told me the story. So they rush back to fight over the hospital, to save their hospital. That's one of the only hospitals they have there. If they lose that hospital, that is a big, big blow for that mountain. Not only they don't have electricity, no water, no food, no internet, they're under a siege. Now you take away their hospital. That's going to make life a living hell for them. Imagine starvation, injuries, wounds, dehydration, everything under a siege, and now you don't even have a hospital. So they go to fight over the hospital, and they encounter heavy resistance. Why? Because there's a tank standing outside the hospital there, trying to defend the jihadists and the ISIS people while they're slaughtering doctors. Look how crazy the government of Syria have become. This is the government of Syria doing it to its own citizens, and no one is talking about that. So now the Druze, they don't have the right weapons to fight that tank. Yes, they have a few RPGs, but anyone who came from the world of military, and I was an officer in the army and in the special forces, I can tell you, with a simple RPG, if you don't have a tandem, which is like a double kind of headed RPG, which have like two explosive heads, one will penetrate and the other one will just go completely in and kill the crew. So you really need to know how to aim it, and you need to hit the tank in the right angle, in the right place. Otherwise, you just blew up your cover, and with a tank, usually you have one shot. If you don't do it in one shot, then you're dead. You're exposed, you lost the element of surprise. So they're having a very hard time to find a way to take down this tank. Meanwhile, like I said, they're slaughtering, killing people in the hospital. And I can't really confirm that story, but I heard it from several people. Two stories here that happened. One is that there was a young Druze boy in the age of 14 to 16. Imagine your kid in that age that shows that he's going to do something to go and rescue the people in the hospital. He went in pretending to be injured, putting grenades on his body, about 4 grenades, and holding one in his hand, hiding it. And when these ISIS government people came and took him and started wanting to torture him and probably executed him, he then blew himself on them, killing them, and giving the chance for the Druze fighters to go actually and take over the hospital, sacrificing his life to go and rescue, the people that are being slaughtered in the hospital. But now the tank still remains. So what happened apparently is Israeli Air Force or drone sent a precise missile and took down the tank, and that gave the Druze the capability to rescue whoever was left alive in the hospital and reclaim the hospital. Again, I can't really confirm these stories yet, and I'm hoping in the next few days to have some of these brave men and women that fought to defend the mountain of Suwayda, Christians and Druze, to come and talk in my podcast. Now, you need to understand, one of the difficulties that we're having right now with the Druze in Suwayda is that the government have completely shut down the grid on them, electricity and internet. For some miraculous reason, which we're not going to go into, a few Starlink devices were managed to be delivered to the mountain in Suwayda, which gave the Druze the opportunity and the chance to stay connected to the world. Otherwise, all of this massacre won't even hear, because even in some of these videos where you see the government, Al-Qaeda and ISIS guys, they're going, and the Secret Service guys tell them, here's the camera here, a camera there, and they're going and spraying the cameras or destroying them to hide the crimes. Why would you do that in a hospital? It's to hide the crimes of massacre in the hospital. So there was a clear intention by the government undoubtedly, and it's not open for negotiation even. They literally went with their soldiers, started killing people. Their soldiers are ISIS, and they went and killed people in hospitals, even executed doctors under the cameras. And it's all, you know, publicly in the internet. You can go to my Instagram, you can see I post one of these videos. I just couldn't put it here because I'm doing it from my phone right now, and like I said, my laptop crashed, so I can't really use it for edits. So in Israel takes down this tank. The Druze go and rescue the people in the hospital. They witness all the horrors that happen. And I was talking actually about the internet. Here's an interesting story. Lujane shared with us that the doctor, the female doctor I spoke to the other day, that for the first 4 days of the invasion of the Druze mountain, she was hiding in a room inside her house with her mother, defending her mother, had no electricity for 4 days, she said, had no internet. All she was using, and once in a while, just a flashlight to see what's happening around, completely in the dark, hearing all these ISIS, Al-Qaeda, jihadists, and tanks roaming in the streets, killing their neighbors, and etc. Only after 4 days, with the help of the IDF and the Air Force from Israel mostly, and the brave Druze men and women, they managed to push away the invaders, the government, from their mountain. And that's when some of these Starlink devices were reaching, you know, and people started getting signal. And then they started actually hearing about the horrors while we knew about it before, many of them, and seeing the level of horrors that have been going. But more than 30 Druze villages, that's what I've heard, have been completely destroyed by the government. People have been massacred in these villages, and only lately they're able to actually go see these decomposed bodies that been, you know, animals started eating them. Innocent civilians, you know, from children to women that were raped and then killed. The level of horrors and crimes that were committed there, we'll probably never know. Although we have enough evidence to see it's, you know, it's October 7 on steroids, what we're seeing there, because no one was there to stop it, and it just kept going for days, for weeks. But also a lot of the crimes were completely hidden, and we'll probably never hear, because entire families were wiped out. Entire families by the Syrian government, while your countries are telling you that it's okay to have economical ties with them and that they're the good guys. How crazy that is. So we see a clear intention by the Syrian government to cut the internet, cut the electricity, shut the grid, send their army to go and ethnically cleanse anyone that is not Druze. Saudi Arabia is aware of that. They're trying to tell America it's okay, here, take some money, don't look there, don't listen to Israel. Europe, everything's fine, trust us, take some money, be quiet. You'll be able to send these migrants that are causing you problems soon into Syria, we'll take care of it. But meanwhile, what is happening is just Syria is being ethnically cleansed and becoming a real Dar al-Islam. Remember when I told you that? No more minorities. You kill all the Yazidis, you kill all the Christians, you kill all the Druze, you kill all the, you know, the Mormons, you kill, in general, every minority group that is living in the Middle East that is not in Israel is under the risk of extinction. Mark my word, and I hope that I'll be proven wrong, or that something will happen to stop it. In 25 to 50 years, we'll not have any more minorities in the Middle East, except for the Jews and anyone that is living in Israel. Because everywhere else that is under Islam is being ethnically cleansed as we speak. That is what is happening in the Middle East. So back to Syria. Why did the Druze choose to right now only share this video from the footage? I mean, some of these videos they might have just reached now, but some of them they had it for a while. But an order came from the Druze religious and leadership to share it with the world. Look what's happening. Syria was trying to paint a different picture to the world, saying that what's happening is clashes between Druze militants into Bedouins. They're not even calling the Bedouin militants. They're the ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Trying to paint it as if the Druze are terrorists that are backed by Israel, trying to divide Syria, and they're trying to go and actually stop them. And meanwhile, they managed to recruit a few Druze. I call them, it's like the Judenrat of the Druze, the Robert the Bruce of the Druze. Some Druze traders that work for the Syrian government, Laith al-Bal'ous people and others, that are on the side of the government, and Syria is planning right now to send this Leith Barahus and the delegation of Druze that work for them, the Judenrat, the traitors, to send them to the UN to go and speak on behalf of the Druze in Syria in the UN, obviously dictated by the government what they told them to say, and this is happening right now. So the Druze were coming saying he doesn't represent us, he's a traitor, don't listen to them, but the Druze can't speak because they cut the internet on them. Luckily, some Starlink devices were able to go in, so now they can actually share. And luckily, they have people like myself and others outside of Syria that can come and tell you what is happening, because we have relatives and family in Syria. And sources, every Druze in the world have a relative in Syria. There's 1 million Druze on planet Earth, give or take. And about 600,000 to 700,000 of them are in Syria. In Israel, there's only 150,000. Lebanon is about 200,000 to 300,000. So do the math. Every Druze around the world knows someone in Syria, and they're trying to hush it down and send their own delegation. And then the Druze in Syria, seeing that, saying, no, we can't allow this. Let's expose everything, every crime that they've done. Expose it now. Show that they went and slaughtered doctors, killed innocent people, kidnapped children. The government, not just ISIS and Al-Qaeda, because they're all the same. Like I said, they're just wearing the same uniform with different patches. They're all the same. Syria is run by ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And to top it all, their leader of Syria, Öcalan, is a known leader of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He just had a bounty removed over his head. He was having a bounty over his head of about $10 million by the US and Europe for being part of ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So, seeing what's happening, it shows that it's important that the world knows. And that's why it is important that you help share this video. So they don't let Islam hush another genocide attempt that is happening under them without the world knowing. And this time it's Jews and Christians in Syria as the main target. I would say you're hearing more about the Druze because the Druze in Syria are the only ones, aside from the Kurds, who are standing strong. And there are a secular group of Muslims, let's call it. The Kurds have a Kurdish identity, not a Sunni or a Shia identity. They see themselves as a nation, they're very proud of themselves, and they're secular, and they have a very strong army, stronger than the army of Jolani right now. The Druze are still, under the siege of the government of Syria, and they're the only one that did not succumb to Sharia law, the only one that did not bend the knee to Sharia law. The Christians have succumbed already. They have no weapons, they've been taken away from them, and they're living in constant fear and threat of being massacred. Every month, one of their churches is being blown, they're being murdered and killed, their daughters are being stolen. They don't even dare to speak, because then all of them will be wiped out. And they saw what happened with the Alawites. They saw what's happening with the Druze. The world literally doesn't care. And they're getting their information from the terrorists. So the minorities in the Middle East are terrified. They're terrified to raise their voice. And the only ones that are brave enough right now to raise their voice are the Druze. And for that, they're cutting the grid off them and trying to silence them. But the Druze are fighting. And they're saying that we're going to stay and we're going to fight over this mountain. We're not going to let them take our women and children. Luckily, the only one that went to rescue the Druze and the Christians is Israel. And they're getting all the heat for that. Israeli Air Force and Special Forces and different other ways have literally saved the Druze from annihilation in Syria. And what does the world does? To the only one that is actually protecting minorities and doing the right thing, they hate them. They call them names, they blame them. Why is that? Because Western media has been compromised. It's been bought off. And I tell you what, even Western leaders have been bought off. Hamas goes, kidnap innocent Jewish hostages, destroy his own country, keep saying they want to massacre all of the Jews around the world. Not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, they keep saying that. Again and again, what does Macron come and say? Give them a country. They deserve it. What did they do to deserve a country? Seriously. Other than killing Jews and Christians and atheists, murdering people on a dance, that just went to dance, kidnapping babies, glorifying death, and torturing their own people, destroying their own country. What have they done that you would say that they deserve to have a country that actually never really existed? So give me one more better explanation than Macron has been bought. been bought either by money or by influence or by power. There's no other explanations. You know, he's not Muslim. They won't have him alive if they could. So there must be a very good reason that all these leaders are lining up behind the Arab agenda to go and basically eradicate all the minorities in the Middle East and leave the Sunnis, the Muslims, only alive, or the Shia, depends who's doing that. Meanwhile, they're invading Europe. And that is also Western leaders are trying to hush it down and to silence people who dare to talk about it. And the UK are like, you know, champions in that. They put you in jail if you dare to pray in the street. But you drive a car and you say rape Jewish women, kill their daughter, rape their daughter, you don't go to jail. You know, just my friend Niak there, I just saw a video, a picture right now. He's been strangled in a demonstration by pro-Hamas terrorists just because he goes there and tells them, you know, Hamas is a terrorist organization declared by the UK law. And he has always been thrown to jail or, you know, detention for actually trying to point out radical Islam. Meanwhile, radical Islam is being protected. So we're seeing it happening in Syria right now. And if anyone had any doubt that the Syrian government is a terrorist government and that the Syrian people accept that, by the way, then this doubt is gone right now. Just go and watch the videos. You see it clearly. There's so many videos showing that. It's not even one. It's so clear to see that the military of Syria is built by ISIS and Al-Qaeda. It's not the other way around. It's not like, you know, it's not like here and there rogue. They're literally going with their patches freely, doing whatever they want, proudly of it. Their leader is ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Another interesting thing, I was invited to a Christian church here in Germany 2 days ago to go and speak about the Druze because they said, we're not hearing anything in mainstream media. Can you come and tell us? And I went there, and as I was talking to them, they were asking me about, you know, migration and what to do with, you know, the Muslim migration in Europe and etc. etc. And I came to them, listen, guys, Islam is not a minority. There's 2 billion of them in the world. They're not a minority. Druze are a minority. Jews are minorities. Yazidis are minorities. Alawites are minorities. Mormons are minorities. Copts are minorities. You know, there's so many minorities. Islam is not one of them. So if you want to know who do you want to leave in your country, then leave the minorities. They're actually good citizens. And yeah, that will help you with your economy. You're not bringing enough children. I understand that. They still bring children. Bring them here. They'll be more than happy to drive a BMW than live in this, you know, cow poop shithole that is called Syria with their jihadists, you know, Mad Max going around killing and raping everything that they can find. They'll be happy to be citizens of Holland, of Germany, drive a BMW and get, you know, social welfare and actually work and pay taxes. And I tell you what, they won't even try to convert anyone. They won't try to convert you. They won't try to change. They'll actually adapt to your way. So these are the minorities you want to keep, but you keep bringing unfiltered, unchecked Muslim migration into Europe. What do you think is going to happen? Look at what's happening in Syria. A lot of these people that are killing and beheading right now and butchering in the hospital, they saw in the video, a lot of their doppelgangers are in Europe. If they weren't in Europe, they would be there doing that. These are the citizens of Syria. They are right now in Europe. Not saying all of the Syrian migrants here, but relatively quite a lot. If you look at the demonstrations, how comfortable they feel. And I tell you what, I've been hearing it. I've been hearing it for a long time. I hear Arabic. I went in the last month for 3 doner kebab shops to buy, hopefully, some shawarma. They don't have shawarma. Sorry, don't want to disrespect any Turkish person here, but doner is not as tasty as shawarma. It's not bad. But if shawarma, you know, a good shawarma can be 9 and 10, a doner will be like probably 3, max 4 compared to that. Let's be honest. Let's call for what it is. So we're talking about good shawarma. So I go there to buy and I hear Arabic. And then I hear the word, you know, cursing words about the Druze, and I start listening. And I see that the shop is run by Syrians. And in 3 different occasions, they were saying that Il-Shara should slaughter all the Druze. In some occasions, it was said that they would do it and help him as well. If they find Druze here in Germany, they will just kill them. And I'm listening to that, I'm like, wow. This is like, should I tell them that I'm a Druze? You know, this is Europe. right now. So now not only Jews are not safe to be in Europe anymore, Druze as well. And if you look at cultures, whenever a culture became unsafe for the Jews, which is a very good benchmark for a minority, that culture very fast spiraled into very dark places. Very dark places. It didn't become a good place for its own citizens. Not talk about the world. So Europe is becoming unsafe for the Jews, and it's supported by a lot of people in the streets, even in Germany here. It's crazy. I see so many Germans that are pro-Palestinians, which is basically a modern version of barbaric Nazism. Let's, be honest about it. And now they want to kill the Druze, and I barely hear a single German kind of going and saying anything about it. They're walking in the streets in Germany with scissors. That's how empowered they feel and not ashamed. Something very interesting that I heard about shame, and I saw a video of a psychologist, a lady psychologist talking about it, and she said, only good people have shame. Shame is a good sign. If you're ashamed, that means that there's something good in you still. And if you go and look at all these pro-Palestine, pro-Syria regime right now, they have no shame. They just walk in the streets and they outspokenly, side with Hitler, lie, and just, spread hatred and genocidal ideology with no shame at all, because bad people don't have shame. That's something very interesting to think about. So back to Syria. What is happening there is a spin-off of the Syrian government backed by a lot of Arab money, and they have paid their way to get the West to kind of give them a chance to do what they want, because they say if Israel gets involved, then we would lose al-Jawlani, and then Syria might fall again to the hand of the Shiites. And they keep telling them, don't worry about minorities, we'll take care of that. By we'll take care of that is basically would let Jawlani go and slaughter them. Imagine you have a dog that have, it's just, how do you call this? Kalevet, we call it, like rabies disease, when he's foaming out of his mouth, just want to bite everything he sees. And then you just unleash him, in a cage full of cats or chickens. He can't hold himself. ISIS is the same thing. ISIS enjoy slaughtering and killing innocent people. That's what they do. Jawlani is ISIS. His people are ISIS. They've taken over Syria. So when people tell you, don't worry, we got this covered, what do you think is going to happen? Exactly what we're seeing. It's hard to know the numbers, but from what I've heard, thousands, if not even more than 10,000 of Alawites have been massacred. And these jihadists, they don't have airplanes with napalm bombs and 500 kg, bombs. We're talking massacred by knives, by kitchen knives. More than 10,000. Imagine the level of massacre that went there. Most brutal way. And they tried to do that to the Druze, and they're doing it to the Christians. As we're speaking. And your tax money is basically directly or indirectly supporting these radicals. So that's how crazy it is. I wanted to give you an update about Syria. This is the situation right now in Syria, and it is important that we bring it to the attention of the world. There is a massacre that is happening in Syria by the government, and they need to be held accountable. They don't deserve. No, I didn't watch Channel 4 video on Suwayda yet. By the way, if anyone left a comment here and I didn't reply or respond in time, sorry, it's just because I'm doing it on my phone. And I'm not so sure how can I see the comment. No, that's not the right video. Oh, wrong button. Maybe I can see the comments here. No, I almost reported someone. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not so sure how can I see the comment and reply to them here. Top fans. Okay, good to know I have top fans. I didn't know that. It's pretty cool. Hey, Doe, my man. I'm just trying to find out where I can see the comments so I can reply to them. But anyway, just wanted to give you guys an update. Thank you so much for coming around. Again, I couldn't edit the video because my laptop got basically destroyed, died. Still trying to turn it on. Don't know how to do that. That's the second laptop that dies on me. This is already a borrowed laptop that someone gave me so I can keep doing what I'm doing right now. So I need to fix it now and give it back to him. He's gonna be pissed. But we'll find a way. If not, I'm gonna keep doing lives until I figure out a way to edit you videos and keep you updated. I just want to remind people as well, I'm very bad at it. People tell me all the time that I keep forgetting that. So if anyone want to help support this channel and the work that I'm doing, you can go and find practical direct ways on Patreon. I think the link is somewhere in the video gonna be, and you can find the tier. It can go up from, you know, very minimal $3 a month, or if you pay it yearly, you get like I think a 20% discount, all the way to which tier you choose. As well, a very easy way is just to like the videos, hit the bell. If you hit the bell, it will notify you whenever I'm making a video. Now, why is this important for content creator? Yep, my Patreon is in the link of the YouTube description. Exactly. Why does that help a lot? Because whenever a new video comes out of a content creator, for the first 15 seconds, that's kind of what I figured out from, you know, playing with YouTube lately. YouTube will test the water. See, okay, the video is interesting. Is his subscriber staying in for more than 15 seconds, or are they just clicking, going out? And if they see that the subscribers are staying in for more than 15 seconds, then they will send it to more of your subscribers on the channel. And then it will test the water again. And then if for 30 seconds people are still engaged in the video, they'll say, okay, what's the niche of the video? Mansour is talking about fatherhood, psychology, special forces, Middle East, Syria. Let's send it to people that are like these things, that this is their niche that they're interested in, because they have the algorithm, they know that. So then they'll send it to the next, 100,000 people to see if they also like it. If they keep watching it, then YouTube will push it for more and more and more. And that's how, because what is YouTube's agenda? And there's nothing, to hide here. YouTube is trying to make money out of commercials and to keep you on their platform rather than going to other platforms. So if people stay engaged, they can put more commercials on the video and make more money. And then creators like myself can get a level of income from that will support their work. So it is important for creators that you keep watching the video, if you enjoy the video, of course. And Mansour, did you say the female doctor interviewed is at risk being deported? No, not the female doctor that I talked to. She's not at risk. That female doctor that I talked to is actually in Syria. She would be happy right now risking being deported, because that means that she'd be out of the siege and not dealing with these jihadists. So she is still in Syria and they're still under siege. The people that are trying to deport from Syria are Syrians, and many of them are actually minorities. And I was making a point that the German government and European governments should easily learn to identify who is Muslim and who is not before they choose to deport. Because let's be honest, not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. So that should tell you a lot. So yeah, anyway, just like I said, that is one way of supporting as well, is by sharing these videos, liking them and commenting. And that's all I had to say about that, like Forrest Gump. I think I have one more minute before it's 45 minutes. We don't want to stop it sharp. Just want to thank everyone for sticking around and for coming and for listening. And we're gonna keep doing our best. I know haven't been active lately, but that's because my kid is starting school tomorrow. It's his first day of school. And actually, let me share something sweet with you, just to finish on a better note. As he was going to bed, I saw that he was a little bit kind of nervous. And he's usually carefree, and he doesn't get nervous that easily. And I asked him what's happening, and he said that he's a little bit scared. And I said, of what? And he said, I'm going to school tomorrow. And I asked him why. And he said, I don't know if I'm going to have any friends there. I don't know anyone. And I found that so sweet. So I came and I told him, you know what? When I went my first day in school, I was scared too. I didn't know if I'm gonna have any friends. But in that day, I've met my best friend that is still my best friend until today. And we were both kind of outcast children, and we both loved climbing, painting, drawing, fantasy stuff, and just, you know, fighting. And we clicked very fast and became the best friends in the world. And then later on, I made more and more friends through school. So I saw how he's getting encouraged. And then he came and he said that he wanted to give me a kiss on the forehead, which is something very Arab, I think. But I was very proud of my little champ. So tomorrow is going to be his first day in school. And up until now, I was busy, busy. You know, anyone who's a parent that knows when your kids don't have school, whew, it's hard to work. It's hard to do anything. And for me, it's very important, you know, I don't just let him rot in front of a screen or something. So it's very important for me to be engaged and keep teaching him. And in general, the first 5-6 years of your child's life are magical. He is just so engaged with you as a parent. He just want to spend every living moment with his parents. If you come and you show him a sign that you want to play with him, he would leave the tablet, he would leave the computer, he would leave the place, he would leave everything, he will jump because they want to be with you, want to play. And that fades away at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know, I haven't got there yet, but I'm kind of figuring out that they have their own friends. But there's something magical about that age that you will never get it back. And that is your time to educate your kids, to build the right moral values, the right characteristics that will literally affect their life forever, for the rest of their life. No one else can do it. You shouldn't let the schools do it for you. You shouldn't let babysitters, you know, money can't buy a way through that. It's your job as a parent, and if you don't do it, someone else will do it, and that's going to be out of your control. And if you put them in front of the screens, then the screens are raising your kids. So I kind of went away with parenting here, but in general, he's going to school tomorrow, first day of school, exciting day, and I'm gonna be with him. But after that, I'm hoping to have a little bit more time to start making you more videos once I fix this laptop. It's just not going. I don't know. Anyone knows how to fix a laptop? It's my second one in a year that I've destroyed. So maybe I should get a stationary computer and that's it. So yeah, anyway guys, stay safe, don't do anything stupid. Thanks for I see the Druze colors here. Keep praying for the Druze. We're a tiny, beautiful minority that is just trying to live in peace. And we need... Broken laptop is a crap top. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. In general, I don't like Apple, but I've been editing and working on Apple stuff, so maybe I should get something else. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, stay safe. See you next time, and don't do anything stupid. In general, don't do anything that I would do. Now, how do I stop the live? Are you sure you want to stop streaming?